Attorney Jones reporting for duty. So proud of our city and counties for voting for a new DA this week. People's DA becoming that, and the people have spoken. And I promise never to let the people that elected me down. When I started the campaign, I talked a lot about the concept of the people's DA and what that means. It's the idea that the DA is beholden to no one but the people alone. Not the government, not the governor, not the police chief, not the mayor, not some good old boy or whoever, to the people. The seat belongs to the people, and we took it back for the people today. And we proved that with a landslide victory over the incumbent. Three-term incumbent, very impressive. We have done great work for the city today. Recent events have caused us, with Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd, have caused us to scrutinize ourselves and our city closer, and our judicial system, both nationwide and here locally. The tragic murders of Hector Areola, Zacharias Flint, as well as Kenneth Walker. These cases we've had to revisit. Jarvis Likes, we've had to revisit these cases and take another look at them to make sure that we don't have issues with people who can't breathe, with people being shot in the streets, things of that nature. And so, we can't sit idly by as other countless victims of police brutality have shown us we can't stand idly by anymore. There must be reform to our criminal justice system, both nationally and locally. I've already been reached out and approached by other district attorneys nationwide with this victory. So it's being noticed. It's being noticed. There was a DA from New York who's reached out by text and wanted to know that if we needed anything on a national level, he would be there. So we're making waves. Yeah. So some of my goals, as we've been talking about, are to minimize, biggest thing is going to be minimize interactions between police and citizens by focusing on crimes that actually matter, not some of these lesser crimes that are providing probable cause with the whole free the green notion. We want to minimize those police-citizen interactions because what oftentimes happen is either the motorist or the citizen ends up hurt or the officer ends up hurt, and we don't want that anymore. So we want to minimize those. We want to give clear guidelines and regulations on the use of force. I know Chief Boren posted some guidelines recently on social media. They seem pretty vague to me. I would love to help out with that and clarify those of when officers are justified and when they're not. So we have clear guidelines for them to follow. And then obviously we want to end the backlog. Everybody knows that we have almost 100 serious violent felonies of murder cases that have just not been prosecuted over the years. I don't care if I have to sit in the government basement and type up the indictments myself with a typewriter. We're going to get the indictments filed, and we're going to start moving those cases, and we're going to try those cases to juries. And I want to just go ahead and say this and get this out there for the officers. I want to work with the officers and the law enforcement in the community if you're a good one. If you're bringing peace to the community, if you're bringing community policing to the community, if you're looking out for the community, I want to know you. I want you to have my cell phone. I want you to be able to text me day or night, anytime. If there's an issue, I want to have an open door policy where you feel like you can disclose issues to me if there's an issue with an officer. We do have some bad apples in any police department, and we got to get them out of there. So, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. One of the platforms or the planks of being elected, I think, was a clear mandate that police officers who use excessive force or brutality or do anything other than bring the peace have to be prosecuted. And we've got to change the system to where that can be done effectively. So that's what I'm going to do. So, but again, want to work closely with law enforcement. I know there's a lot of good officers out there, and I'm not knocking them at all, but for the ones that would bring police violence or police brutality or excessive force, we will come after you and we will prosecute you. So just, we have to. It's a clear mandate from the people. They're sick of it. They're sick of reading about people who have been shot in the street like a dog. They're sick of reading about people who have been suffocated by officers who don't know when to just put somebody in the back of a damn police car. And we're not going to do that anymore. Not no more. We want to create a formal pretrial diversion program that gives citizens charged with nonviolent felonies that do not involve a child a chance to find work. Because what I found in my practice over the last 13 years is there are a lot of good people out there who catch a charge for whatever reason, and it turns out that either the evidence isn't there to prove it, or the evidence is insufficient, or it simply didn't happen the way they thought it was going to happen, or much worse, the DA was simply not prosecuting and moving the case, so you have a charge hanging over a citizen's head for years and years and years, where they can't find work. It's really difficult if you have a charge for people to hire you. And I want to create a pretrial diversion program where we can handle things in-house internally, like a local restricted record. If they do, if the person who's charged, makes amends, makes the community whole, I want to have a program where we can dismiss that case, keep that charge off the record so they can find meaningful employment and get an honest day's work. But I implore the judges who are out there looking at these bond issues to focus on the crimes that matter to the community, the violent crimes. Please keep us safe. I don't care if they have a disorderly conduct. Keep them in there. Do not let them out. We've had too many tragedies. You can ask Nancy Nash's family across the river about that, and issues where people have gotten out and committed just heinous acts of murder, allegedly. But we got to stop that. We have to stop letting violent offenders out if at all possible and protect the community. And then but at the same time, we have to give bond. We have to have DAs who are willing to give bond on non-serious, non-violent felonies that do not involve a child. We got to get those out of there. So I'm open to more consent bond for people charged with those crimes. But again, the violent crimes and the bond craziness with violent crimes, people getting very low bonds or even own recognizance bonds for charged with murder, we can't do that anymore. We've got to keep the community safe. So we're going to do that.